And then you do that rinse and repeat process 2 times a day, and you will be an expert sprouter. Like it's unbelievable. I went from never growing anything to growing my own vegetables. And within 1 cubic foot, like the size of a milk crate, it's about a cubic foot. I had 6 jars growing, and I was growing edible vegetables, thousands of calories of edible vegetables. And that's what I was eating every single day. And so I started to live on sprouts. Now, I'm not recommending to you because you don't have to live on sprouts. But for me, I was having an existential food crisis combined with my knowledge that all of these other things that were even remotely near me weren't food. So sprouts became the best alternative for me at that moment in my life. Today, 26 years later, I'm eating sprouts, sea vegetables, and fruit. And I don't do oil. I don't do added salt. I don't do any processed food. I do no meat, dairy, animal products. So I'm eating fruit, sprouts, sea vegetables, and I feel so good. I feel so alive. And I feel really blessed that I know this information, and even more blessed that I have the opportunity to share it with you. So, one of the other common questions I get is, what do you do with the sprouts? So, since they're vegetables, and since I eat vegetables, I can graze on them all through the day. I can add them to a smoothie. I can juice with the sprouts. I can add them to a salad, to a wrap. And I make a funny joke that I don't add sprouts to my soup. I add soup to my sprouts because I want more sprouts first, but you could do either way. And then the most obvious aha moment was that I could use sprouts as the base of my salad. So sprouts could be the base of my salad. And all of a sudden, I'm making enormous salads with alfalfa, with radish, with clover, with broccoli, with green pea, with lentils, and I got a big salad. And the things that I love most on being on this diet, this lifestyle, is I love sprouts and I love ferments. So sauerkraut is amazing from a prebiotic, probiotic perspective, and they play really nicely with the sprouts. So I will use sauerkraut and sauerkraut brine with the sprouts, and that's my dressing. And I love tahini, small amounts of tahini, which is basically just a sesame seed, or in my case, a sprouted sesame seed paste as a base of the dressing. And then, if you want to be creative, you can use the salad as the inside of making sushi. So all of my sushi for 26 years has no fish, but has the sea vegetable, or in this case, the nori. And then if you have access to other organic vegetables, whether it's asparagus or lettuces or greens or carrots, you can add them. You could add non-sweet fruit like cucumbers, like bell peppers, like tomatoes. In our family, we call them gadgets. So you can throw all those things in, and then you can wrap them up into a wrap. And then you're getting this abundant meal. Now, people who work out are obsessed with protein. And I have nothing against protein. I'm just not obsessed with protein. I think of protein as just one um, requirement for health, but there are many, many requirements. And the obsession on protein, I think, really was the result of propaganda. Because when someone comes up to me and they go, "Oh, well, Doug, where do you get your protein?" My question to them is, where did you get that question? Are you an expert on, are you studying nutritional science? And I realized one of the reasons why nutrition is so highly debated, why it's such a big topic, is because if you said to someone you're a plumber and someone had a plumbing question, they honor, "Oh, I'm the plumber. Yeah, I do it like this." Because most people have no experience with plumbing. But everyone has experience with food, and everyone knows someone who's an expert at food. So therefore, everyone has opinions about food. And so they use these opinions about food as a dialogue. So it used to be, don't talk about sex, don't talk about religion, right? But now I almost say don't talk about nutrition, but it's so polarizing. And there's so many camps, like from where I am as this raw vegan to the other side, where you have people who are just eating meat. Like, believe it or not, like I can't even believe it, but there are people who really just eat meat, right? There's even, someone who's doing more. And so, in the case of where that is and what you can do with it, you can actually take, if you want protein, you could take sprouted garbanzo beans, sprouted green peas, sprouted lentils, and use those as a substitute to protein powders because they are a whole food as opposed to a fractional food that's extracted. And I really believe that we benefit from whole foods. Now, there's been research studies that talked about the benefit of beta carotene, vitamin A, and its anti-cancer properties. And people got so excited about this, they did a test with people who had cancer and people giving these patients, um, vitamin A supplements or control group, nothing. And it turned out that they had to stop the trial and stop the test early. And it's not because what you think. They stopped it because people were dying. And it wasn't that the people were dying who weren't getting the vitamin A. Turns out the people who were getting the vitamin A supplements were dying. So when you take a nutrient out of its complete organism and you isolate it, it actually can have adverse effects. Therefore, food as vitamins or food as supplements or food as medicine, in my belief, in like my world, that is the healthiest thing that you could do. So you actually can make your food be very medicinal. And so that's the world for the smoothies, for the salads. Now, in the case of healing, and I was just had the privilege to this past Sunday, I had lunch at the Hippocrates Health Center in West Palm Beach. They have the most amazing salad bar with a dozen different fresh sprouts and krauts and ferments that I almost would think about moving to West Palm Beach just so I could go and be fed this most nutritious food every day and have someone else prepare it for me. But then I realized it's so easy to do on your own, that sprouting is so simple. There's a chapter in the Sprout book called Junkyard Dog. And in the process of writing that, I realized that you could take almost anything and use it to sprout. There's so many easy things that allow everyone to sprout. So the notion of sprouting, growing your own food is so simple. And I've been around the world visiting people sprouting, in India, in Japan, in China, and sprouts are not new. The research goes back 6,000 years to people sprouting. And I think sprouts were the original food, the original medicine, because they grow so quickly and they grow without the soil, sunshine, or fertilizer. So, Michael, I'm going to take a pause and a breath, and I think we should open it up to some questions.
All right, sounds good. So, thank you so much for that great information. Now, before we go ahead and start with the Q&A, how would people get in touch with you, follow your work?
So, my name is Doug Evans, and I wrote the Sprout book. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok, and very easy to find on any search engine. Um, and I answer all almost all questions on social media through my Instagram account at Doug Evans. And also, um, I'm constantly sharing this information. And, my full-time job now, is split between product development for the sprouting company and sharing this message and this gospel, about sprouting, online through social media, through podcasts, and the like.
Great, thank you. So,
And lastly, one other thing, you can sign up for my newsletter on thesproutbook.com. Sign up for my newsletter, and I send out letters, a couple times a month, and good information in there.
So for our audience who are interested in asking questions, you can go ahead and raise your hand in Zoom, and we'll put how to do so in chat for those who don't know how to do it. So um, actually, we had Colin Campbell on over the last couple of days, actually, and he was talking specifically
What
about
an
that.
honor.
Yeah, absolutely. He was on yesterday and today, so I got to speak with him twice, and he's just unbelievably knowledgeable. And he was talking about that the study, I believe, was with lung cancer patients, if I'm correct, or with the vitamin,
Yes.
where the people who had lung cancer had vitamin A, and they were dying.
Yes.
Stop them. So, okay. So what nutrients can we expect to find, or should we even care what nutrients? To go with T. Colin Campbell's whole philosophy, does it even matter what nutrients are in sprouts per se, as compared to eating sprouts are good for you, and if you eat them, you're going to have great health?
I would add to it, Michael, you're a very smart man. I would add that you want to have a variety of sprouts in your diet, and you want to have a variety of fresh plants in your diet. And if you're eating enough variety and you're eating enough calories, you are going to be satisfied, satiated, and healthy. That there animals in nature aren't studying the plant, worrying about what its nutritional makeup is, right? So a lot of this intuitive eating gets totally blown and destroyed when you're eating processed food that has added oil, added salt, added fat, added sweeteners because it corrupts the brain. Like those expert food scientists working out of New Jersey or Minneapolis, they know how to trick you and to dupe you into consuming their food over and over and over again, whether it be healthy or not.
So talking about satiation, when people think about sprouts, I live in the plant-based world. They'll say rabbit food. How do you maintain being satisfied with a predominantly sprout-based diet? What sprouts do you eat that are most filling and satiating?
So, what I know is that the healthiest ones are the garden variety, the alfalfa, the radish, the clover, the broccoli. What gives you the greatest sense of fullness are the legumes and the pulses and the grains. So if you're eating sprouted peas, sprouted garbanzo beans, sprouted lentils, they're very filling, they're very crunchy, and they also have quite a bit of caloric value to them. And so it's interesting, like if you were to sprout a lentil, you triple the vitamin C levels, you quadruple the antioxidants and fiber content. So a lot of this magic is happening when you are sprouting the various foods.
Great, thank you. And what about sprouting nuts and seeds? I know that's
If
popular
you're
with
going,
Hippocrates.
I think that if you're going to eat nuts, they should be raw, they should be unpasteurized, and they certainly should be soaked and sprouted. Definitely, unequivocally, just to make them more bioavailable and more digestible. Otherwise, you're eating this high fat content, with high protein, but it's not really bioavailable and it's not that easy to digest.
Okay. And are there nuts that you would recommend and seeds that are great for sprouting and better than others, or they're all pretty much equal?
Um, there's a wide array. I think that almonds, soaked, sprouted, germinated, unpasteurized almonds are very good. Sunflower seeds are amazing, and I prefer like a sunflower seed um, paste or sunflower butter over a nut butter because of the nutritional profile of them. But a lot of it is, splitting hairs, right? Most important thing is we want to get people to be healthy, and we want to eliminate processed and ultra processed food, and we want to eliminate the consumption of animal products and getting people to consume more plants. So the nuance of which ones, it's really about personal preference.
And um, when people want to go and find these, can they just go to the supermarket and get a bag of nuts? Like, what do they need to look for in order to ensure that they're going to be able to, sprout, become more bioavailable, and be clean for that matter?
I mean, they really need to be raw, unpasteurized, organic. That those would be the standards that I would look for, in the seeds and the nuts.